Today's 1061st day to come here to lessons to learn and learning how to support your dreams, your goals, and allow you to become the person that you want to become. Today I speak about one of the topic that is probably topic that's very, very hard to talk about. At the same time, this topic I never touched before because I never experienced in those last 3 years, the last 2 years and a half that I really doing those daily lessons. But finally, I found that I didn't need to share this topic. I didn't need to really get deep understanding what is grief. Today I will share about grief, and tomorrow, today I like more of a surface level what every single person needs to understand, and tomorrow more on a deeper level. Because we understand that grief is such an interesting topic, and we need to understand that because grief could really be prolonged, it could be short, could be long, and there's so many different things that we need to understand about grief. And I'm new to this. I need to really learn how to grieve. And I could tell you that one of my weaknesses is not being able to understand my emotions very well. I've learned how to live a life mentally strong. That means that I persevere, I go do things no matter how I feel. But sometimes shutting down your emotions is the worst thing for you. Because shutting down emotions, that means that it's not healing. Just covering up, and that is not good. So grief is one of the things that we need to understand, that grief is something emotional healing. So that means grief is essential. There's no grief, there's no emotional healing. So today we'll share like what we need to understand about grief. So number one is grief is not linear. That means that what that means? That means that you potentially could have a massive pain, then it dissipates, and then massive pain again, and that's it reduces. So it means it could be coming waves. So it means we need to understand that we need to go direction that get smaller and smaller and smaller, but it's not linear. It's not that time goes, because it's said that time heals. It heals. It heals time, but at the same time it doesn't heal like straight line. So it will sometimes it'll be less, sometimes it'll be more, sometimes less, sometimes more, and that's totally fine. Because sometimes when we really go through memories, sometimes go through reflections, when we go through music, maybe through looking into things that maybe some kind of reminders will bring emotions. That's why it's not linear. It will be up and it will be triggered. A lot of times we'll trigger that, and of course we'll experience some kind of memories because of that. Second is not just sadness. I think that a lot of times when you think about really grief, we just connect with one emotion only. But grief is not one emotion. There's so many emotions in grief, even positive. But of course, when you think about grief, is a majority of negative emotions: anger, guilt, shame, disappointment. All those emotions could be in one emotion, one understanding: grief. And of course, that means that any confusion and numbness, emotional numbness is part of grief. Of course, we don't want you emotional numb, but sometimes when people really don't know how to deal with those emotions, they numb themselves. The easiest way to deal with emotions, sometimes we numb yourself, but it could be only for short-term period. But we need to understand how to deal, because that is a long-term perspective. So grief is not just sadness. So that we're not supposed to move from sadness to happiness. No, we need to really go through all the emotions, understand those emotions, and of course, that moment be able to really heal. Number three is everyone grieves differently. I think that's it's very easy to really make a 5 steps plan for grieving. And this is what you need to do. When you go through those 5 steps, you will be good. That doesn't work. For one person will work, for other person not. Because we are so different. Some people are extroverts, some are introverts. Some people want to share their negative. Some people want to reflect on their emotions before they sharing. Now, we understand that sharing emotions is important, because when you share positive emotions, it expands. When you share negative emotions, it splits. But at the same time, one person wants to share right away. The other person wants to reflect and then share. And it's absolutely fine. And everyone's grieves differently. Some wants to really go into nature to grieve, to heal. Other person wants to really have a therapy to heal. Other person wants to really to express themselves by painting, music, all other things. And we need to understand that those are totally fine. Number 4 is grief can change you. This is a very, very powerful thing. That means when you have grief, that means when grief is really might be that grief will challenge your beliefs, challenge your values, and will rock your foundations. And because of that, we need to reflect on about values, because a lot of times grief is that we have a loss in our lives. And maybe we didn't understand how important those people are. And when we lose, we understand that we didn't live a life based on values. We live life on some false expectations. Maybe we lived our life not on the right foundations. And then we need to rip those foundations out and really put the right foundations in. And that's why grief can change us, because those reflections, understandings could really make us better. Number five, it doesn't have a set end. It doesn't have a set end. So that means that you have a 1 week to grieve, 2 weeks for grieve, 1 month for grieve, 2 months. Like, who says that how long is supposed to take? Everyone is different. Everyone has a different level of skill set of emotional healing. So that's why one person will take longer. And again, we're not able to measure how much we're able to love each other. One person loves more, one person is love less. Like, there's so many variations that we need to consider when I think about really grieving and grief. And that's why there's no set end. You're not supposed to, oh, like after 3 months you will feel much better. No, that's not true, because that will have expectation that 3 months will change. No, that's time is not change. Really being able to really work on yourself, that's really could change and help. Number six is grief can feel isolating. That's totally right, because when people really want to reflect on themselves, reflect on their values, reflect on beliefs, reflect on what they did right, what they did wrong, and all those things, sometimes could be isolating, because it might be that you feel different emotions than people around you. Might be people feel uplifted, they feel positive, they feel like all the positive emotions, but because of grief, you can still feel guilt, shame, anger, all those negative emotions. So that means the people that you used to connect and you love, at that moment, there is misconnection, because there is different vibrations. Your friends are different vibrations that you are, because you don't feel those emotions that you usually used to feel in the past. And that's totally fine. For a short period of time, it's totally fine, because we want to move to those positive emotions. We want to move to those positive vibrations. But we're not able to really transition, and we're not supposed to blame ourselves that, oh, I really need to really make things happen right now. No, that's not how it works. And because of that, sometimes we could feel isolated, because there's not a lot of people who feel what we feel right now. And of course, there's a lot of people in the world who feel exactly the same what we feel. But it might be that in your circle, not a lot of people feel what you feel. And that might be that they don't understand, especially based on the age of people. Number seven is there can be physical effects on the body. 100%. That means it could be fatigue, it could be, there's so many things that we may not able to focus as much. So that means that there will be physical effects because of the loss, of the grief, of the trying to heal yourself emotionally, because that emotional stress is influencing our body. Like, scientists know that 100%, they always approve that our emotional state and physical state is very highly intertwined. So of course, when you're grieving, when you have anger, blame, all those negative emotions, those has a very negative effect on our body. And it show up. It show up in a lot of different ways. And we are not able to perform at our highest level, because we're not able to focus and be as productive. And that's why very important to really focus on emotion healing as fast as you can, that you can really go back on your physical health as fast as you can as well. Number eight is you can feel guilt for moving forward. Such an interesting saying, that you can have guilt for moving forward. So it means that, and we need to understand that moving forward is not saying that forgetting. I think that we need to understand that we integrating this grief, integrating that loss into our life, and we understand that life will be different from now on. Even though that I love with all my heart, with all my soul, the person that I lost, but my life will be different, and I need to move forward. The faster I move forward, the faster I'm able to really really live a legacy of a person that you lost. Because the faster you overcome that, when faster you overcome the grief, you're faster able to live a life, represent yourself and the person that you love very well. That is very, very important. And not supposed to be guilty of moving forward. Number 9 is memories can be source of a pain and a comfort. It's a pretty beautiful thing. Sometimes it's asking like, what kind of funny memories you remember? What are the most enjoying memories you have? But at the same time, I'm able to ask, okay, how those emotions, how those memories are making me feel. Sometimes it makes me joyful. Sometimes it makes me feeling positive emotions. Sometimes it's negative emotions. Sometimes it's hard because you start to think about all the positive future memories that will potentially could happen if nothing happened. So it means that we have feeling sad because we do not have the future of those memories. There's only that past now. There will never be happen. There will be never be more of those memories. The memories that was built, that's it. And if you wanted more, then you're not able to make more. And I think that's something to realize that you had a chance to make more memories, but you didn't make because you thought that there was more time. I think that pain of understanding that you wanted more memories. To have to remember, to have that caring with yourself. I think that's very, very important. And I think that today, today, the main reason that I wanted to do this speak about grief is today, because I was listening to a song it showed up on my YouTube today and it said that I don't know how to say goodbye. Because when I lost my dad, I had a year of amazing year when we had spent time together. So I created a lot of memories that I could fall onto. And it's a blessing to have that a year to spend with my dad because I knew that it's coming, but I had a year to spend with my dad before he passed away, and I was able to say goodbye. But my brother was different. It came from nowhere, and not being able to say goodbye. That's a tough pill to swallow, and I think that's those memories that was not created because of that. I think that it's we need to be okay to really reflect on that. And lastly, number 10, I want to really mention is that grief is expression of love. Grief is expression of love. This is a beautiful saying. That means that if you have a grief, that means there was a really, really important love. That it was not just a coincidence. There was just not just a random love. There was not just a likeness. No, there was a really love. That love that was nurtured, was developed, that was important person in your life. That means that the grief is just expression of a love. That means actually love the person because you're not grieving for the people that you do not love. The stronger the love, the stronger the grief. And it's okay if you have a massive grief, that means it just was a massive love. It's an interesting thing. And I think I will need to really reflect even more. And today I really want to focus on a little bit more service level. And I shared something extraordinary today. Tomorrow I want to go a little bit deeper into understanding what is grief and how grief is changing us internally. Because there's a lot of things that I think that we're able to learn from grief. Because until I really realize what the grief means, it's very hard to learn from it. But now when I have experienced it, and now I'm able to really look into how this experience could make me better. Now, of course, it made me harder. It made my life much, much harder for the last 2 months. And probably will be next 3 months, 6 months. I don't know how it will take. But I know that this experience will make me stronger. And I think that every single person needs to have that mindset that it doesn't matter how I feel right now. I know that in the future, this will make me better. So I hope you choose to win and see you tomorrow.